Hello, and thank you for joining us here on the Clarity Core. Today, we'll be exploring the topic new, what is LLMs? Large language models, simply explained for beginners. Have you ever typed a question into an AI and felt like it truly understood you? You asked it to explain something hard. You asked it to write a story. You asked it to help you learn. And somehow, it just worked. It felt natural. It felt smart. It felt almost human. But here's the truth. There is no human inside the machine. What you're really talking to is a large language model, also known as an LLM. And in this video, we're going to explain exactly what that means in the simplest way possible. No confusing technical talk. No advanced math. Just a clear story that anyone can understand. Let's start with something surprising. Computers don't understand words. They don't understand meaning. They don't understand emotions. They don't understand ideas. They only understand numbers. So how can something that only understands numbers talk like a human? That's where LLMs come in. To understand LLMs, we have to go back in time. Before AI chatbots, before smart assistants, before the idea of talking to a machine. In the early days of computers, machines only followed rules. If you wanted a computer to do something, you had to write exact instructions. If this happens, then do this. There was no learning, no intelligence, no flexibility. But humans had a new idea. What if computers didn't follow rules? What if they learned patterns instead? What if they could learn how language works by reading massive amounts of text? That question changed everything. This idea created machine learning. And later, something even more powerful, large language models. So what exactly is a large language model? Here's the simplest explanation. A large language model is a computer program that learns how language works by reading huge amounts of text. Not a few books, not a few websites. We're talking about books, news articles, websites' online forums, research papers, stories, tutorials. Altogether, this becomes billions or even trillions of words. The model doesn't memorize every sentence. Instead, it studies patterns. It learns how words usually appear together, how sentences are structured, how ideas are explained. It becomes very good at predicting what comes next, and that's the secret. LLMs don't think like humans, they predict like machines. Let's make this super easy. If I say peanut butter and you probably think jelly. You didn't think hard about it. You didn't analyze it. Your brain simply recognized a pattern it has seen many times before. LLMs work the same way. If they see the capital of France is, they calculate the most likely next word, Paris. Not because they know geography, but because they learned the pattern of language. Now, why are they called large language models? Because of their size. Inside every LLM are things called parameters. You can think of parameters like tiny memory switches. The more parameters a model has, the more complex it can be. Small models may have millions. Modern LLMs have billions, tens of billions, even hundreds of billions. That's why they feel so powerful. They live on massive servers inside data centers. They're powered by advanced computer chips. That's also why they can't run fully on your laptop or phone. Now let's talk about something important. LLMs are not programmed with fixed answers. Nobody writes, if someone asks this question, reply like this. Instead, they are trained. Training works like this. The model is shown a piece of text and asked to guess the next word. Again, and again, and again. Millions of times. Then billions of times. Every time it gets the answer wrong, it adjusts itself, very slightly. It learns from mistakes. Over time, it becomes incredibly accurate. This is called training. Once the training is finished, the model can generate answers in real time. That stage is called inference. That's what happens when you type a question and it responds instantly. Here's another shocking truth. LLMs don't know what is true. They don't have beliefs. They don't have opinions. They don't understand reality. They only understand how language is usually formed. That means they can sound confident and still be wrong. This is why sometimes AI gives incorrect answers and fake facts. It's not lying. It's guessing based on patterns. This is important for beginners to understand. LLMs are powerful assistants, not perfect machines. Now let's talk about some famous LLMs you might know. ChatGPT by OpenAI, Claude by Anthropic Gemini by Google, Llama by Meta. They all work using similar ideas but are trained differently. Each has different strengths, but all of them are built on the same foundation. They are pattern learning machines for language. Now here's where things get really interesting. LLMs don't just copy, they can generalize. That means they can handle new questions they've never seen before. For example, you can say, "Explain black holes like I'm 5 years old." Even if those exact words never appeared in training, the model can create a good explanation by using language patterns. That's why it feels like thinking. But it's still prediction. Now, why does any of this matter? Because LLMs are changing the world. They are being used in schools, hospitals, companies programming, writing, marketing, customer service, law research. They help people work faster, learn faster, and automate boring tasks. But naturally, this makes some people scared. People worry about losing jobs, being replaced, living in a world controlled by machines. These fears are understandable. But history shows something important. New technology doesn't destroy humanity. It changes how humanity works. The calculator didn't destroy math. The internet didn't destroy knowledge. LLMs won't destroy intelligence. They will change how we use it. And understanding how they work gives you power. Now, let's pause here, because in part 2, we're going to go deeper into how LLMs are built internally, what transformer really means, how they understand context, and why they feel so human-like. Now that you understand what LLMs are at a high level, let's open the black box and see what happens inside, in a way that still feels simple and human. Because behind every smart answer, there is a very mechanical process, and it all starts with something called training data. An LLM learns by reading massive amounts of text, not a few textbooks, not a few websites. We're talking about online articles, books, Wikipedia forums, code news, conversations, tutorials, stories. This ocean of text is called the dataset. But here's what most beginners misunderstand. The AI does not store this text like a library. It doesn't remember exact pages. It doesn't copy and paste from books. Instead, it learns patterns across language. It learns how ideas are structured, how questions are answered, how tone changes meaning. Think of it like this. You don't remember every sentence you've ever read, but you learn how language works. That's what an LLM does. Now let's talk about what makes modern LLMs so powerful. It's something called the transformer. In 2017, researchers introduced a new AI architecture called transformers. Before that, AI models had trouble remembering long sentences. They would forget the beginning of a paragraph by the time they reached the end. Transformers changed everything. They introduced a mechanism called attention. This is one of the most important ideas in modern AI. Let's explain it simply. Read this sentence. Sarah dropped the glass because it was slippery. Question. What does it refer to? Your brain instantly knows. The glass. That's because your brain connects distant words in a sentence. Transformers do something similar. They don't read text word by word only. They look at relationships between words. When they see the word it, they look back and ask, what word is this most likely connected to? This is called self-attention. And this is why LLMs understand context, follow long conversations. Remember what you said earlier. Now let's talk about something very important. Tokens. LLMs do not read words the same way humans do. They break text into small pieces called tokens. A token might be a whole word, part of a word, a symbol. For example, unbelievable might become unbelieve able. The model doesn't think in words, it thinks in tokens. It looks at a sequence of tokens and tries to predict the next one, over and over. Now, inside the LLM are billions of tiny switches called parameters. You can imagine parameters like dials. Each dial controls a tiny behavior of the model. When the model trains, it adjusts these dials again and again. Tiny movements, billions of times. That's why training takes huge servers, powerful GPUs, massive electricity, weeks or months of time. Once training is finished, the model becomes very good at prediction. But remember this, it still doesn't think. It calculates. Now let's talk about something that feels very human but isn't. Why LLMs feel like they understand you. This happens for a psychological reason. Humans are wired to respond emotionally to language. If something speaks fluently, your brain assumes intelligence. This is called the ELIZA effect, when people emotionally connect with machines just because they speak well. LLMs are extremely good at language, so your brain fills in the gaps. You feel understood, you feel heard, you feel like the AI gets it. But in reality, it's predicting patterns. Now let's talk about fine-tuning. When a model first finishes training, it's raw. It can say weird things, it can be unsafe, it can be chaotic. So engineers run a second stage of training. This is where humans rate the AI's responses: helpful, harmful, honest, misleading, safe. This teaches the AI to behave more like a polite assistant. This step is what makes ChatGPT-style models feel friendly instead of wild. Now let's talk about bias, because this is important for beginners. LLMs are trained on human text, and humans are biased. That means the model might reflect cultural bias, gender bias, political bias, stereotypes. Not because the AI thinks, but because it learned from us. This is why AI safety and alignment are such big topics today. People are actively trying to make AI fairer, safer, more balanced. Now let's explore something mind-blowing. Even the people who build LLMs don't fully understand them. They understand the architecture, the math, the structure. But when it comes to why the model chose a specific word in a complex answer, sometimes even the creators don't know. These systems develop emergent behavior. That means abilities appear that were never directly programmed. For example, creative writing, sarcasm, logical reasoning, step-by-step explanations, imitation of writing styles. Nobody coded those skills directly. They emerged from scale and data. This shocked the AI world. Now let's talk about where LLMs are used today. They power chatbots, writing assistants, programming tools, email generators, customer support systems, search engines, language translators. You are probably already using LLMs without realizing it. When you get autocomplete in emails, when customer support chats with you, when search engines summarize answers. This is now part of daily life. Some people fear that AI will destroy jobs. But history teaches an important lesson. Every major technology shift created new jobs. The printing press, the internet, the smartphone. They didn't destroy society. They transformed it. LLMs are doing the same thing. The future won't belong to people who fear AI. It will belong to people who know how to use it. Now let's talk about the biggest beginner mistake: treating LLMs like oracles. They are not gods. They are not perfect. They are not always right. They are tools. Powerful tools. But tools. You should always verify important information. Now let's slow down and ask something important. Why does this matter to you? Because LLMs are becoming a fundamental layer of the modern world. Just like electricity, the internet, smartphones. This is not a trend. This is infrastructure. And in part 3, we'll go even deeper into The future of LLMs. How they'll change education and work. How beginners should prepare risks and opportunities, and how to think about AI in a healthy way. Because this is not just a story about machines. It's a story about humans. Now that you understand what large language models are and how they work, it's time to look at the most important part of the story, the future. Because LLMs are not just a new type of software. They are not just a cool tool. They represent a turning point in how humans interact with machines, knowledge, and even themselves. For the first time in history, we have machines that can speak our language, and that changes everything. Let's start with education. Imagine a world where every person on Earth has access to a personal tutor. Not a tired teacher, not a rushed lecture, but a calm, patient, always available guide. A tutor that can explain a topic 10 different ways. A tutor that adjusts to your learning style. A tutor that never judges you. That's what LLMs can become. A student in a small village can learn the same science as a student in a wealthy city. Language barriers begin to disappear. Learning becomes more personal, more accessible, and more fair. But this will change schools. Schools won't disappear. They will evolve. Instead of memorizing facts, students will focus on critical thinking, creativity, judgment, problem solving. Because when knowledge is everywhere, wisdom becomes more valuable than memory. Now let's talk about work. LLMs are already changing the way people work every day. Writers use them to brainstorm ideas. Programmers use them to debug code. Lawyers use them to summarize long documents. Doctors use them for writing medical notes. Marketers use them to write faster. This is not about replacing people. It's about amplifying people. The dangerous idea is this: AI will replace me. The real truth is, people who use AI will outpace people who don't. Just like computers didn't replace workers, they created more powerful workers. LLMs are tools of acceleration. They don't remove human value, they multiply it. Now, let's be honest about the risks. Because there are risks. LLMs can be used to create fake news, scam messages, deepfake text, manipulation content. They can sound very confident, even when wrong. This creates a challenge. How do we protect truth in a world where machines can generate words at unlimited speed? The answer is not fear. The answer is education. People must learn how to question sources, verify information, understand how AI works. The future won't belong to people who blindly trust AI. It will belong to people who understand it. Now, let's talk about creativity. Many people fear that AI will destroy art, that machines will replace writers, painters, and musicians. But history tells a different story. When cameras were invented, painting didn't die. It evolved. When digital music appeared, musicians didn't disappear. They adapted. LLMs won't kill creativity. They will give creators new tools. A writer can collaborate with AI. A musician can use AI to explore melodies. A filmmaker can build worlds faster. The soul of creativity will remain human. AI will be the brush, not the artist. Now let's talk about something deeper. What does it mean to be human in an age of speaking machines? If a machine can write poetry, explain science, answer questions, what makes us special? The answer is not intelligence. The answer is consciousness. LLMs do not feel pain. They do not feel love. They do not experience fear or hope. They do not have dreams. They do not exist. They simulate language. Humans experience reality. That difference still matters. A lot. Now let's imagine the next 10 years. LLMs will become smarter, faster, cheaper, more accurate, more personalized. You might have your own AI assistant that knows your writing style, learns your preferences, understands your habits. It might help you plan your goals, learn new skills, write better, think clearer. It will feel natural, like a second brain. But this creates big questions. Who controls these systems? Who owns the data? Who decides the rules? These are not technical questions. They are ethical and social questions. And the world is still figuring out the answers. Now let's address the biggest fear. Will AI replace humans? The honest answer is simple. AI will not replace humans. Humans who use AI will replace humans who don't. That's the real shift. The future will not be human versus machine. It will be human plus machine. Those who learn will lead. Those who resist will struggle. Now, if you are a beginner, here is what you should know. You are not behind. You are early. This technology is still young. It is still forming. It is still being shaped. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a genius. You just need curiosity. Start using these tools. Ask questions. Test them. Learn their strengths and weaknesses. LLMs are not monsters. They are mirrors. They reflect the patterns of human thought, language, and knowledge. They are built by us, trained on us, shaped by us. That's why they feel familiar. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Every great technological shift in history started with fear. Fire, electricity, the printing press, the internet. People always fear what they don't understand, but the winners were never the ones who feared. They were the ones who learned. LLMs are not the end of human intelligence. They are the beginning of expanded intelligence. They allow humans to think faster, learn deeper, create more freely, if used wisely. Now let's end with one simple truth. Large language models are not magic. They are not gods. They are not alive. They are tools. But they may be the most powerful language tools humans have ever built. They don't understand the world, but they understand how we talk about the world. And that makes them incredibly powerful. So, what are LLMs really? They are machines that learn the patterns of human language. They don't think, but they simulate thinking. They don't feel, but they simulate conversation. They don't live, but they help us live better. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The age of AI is not about replacing humanity. It's about unlocking humanity. And the real question is no longer, will AI change your life? It already is. The real question is, how will you use it? If this video helped you understand large language models in a simple way, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is the Clarity Core, turning complex technology into simple truth.